right now, like nobody will watch it because we don't have any subscribers
Yeah,
except
yeah,
for
yeah.
ourselves.
Oh,
Good
thank
then.
God.
But this is all just diving in to just try it out, to just see
That's good.
what's possible and where the opportunities are to
Yeah.
expand the conversation.
Good. Live we are.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
should work.
yeah.
This is my first time I was ever live on YouTube.
Awesome,
Me
awesome.
too, Don. We're doing it together, hand in hand.
Yeah, same
Yeah,
Cool.
for us.
That's good.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Let's
Oh
do
no,
it.
exactly.
actually no. I think one of the Warren things were live. I don't remember, but anyway, I mean, it's
Yeah.
certainly one of the first ones.
Yeah. So I just
It's a
tried it out on YouTube, and it's live now. And we're all
awesome.
live for the first time, probably.
Hmm.
Nice
So
one. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Welcome
We are
to your
famous now.
new live stream. Yeah.
yeah, welcome. So yeah, this is the Tesla community channel, and the idea is relatively new. And yeah, we are just delighted to have you guys here, and you have a fruitful conversation with you, and have some insights of yours, as you're quite active on the Twitter sphere, and especially you, Alexandra, in recent weeks. You had like many talks with different people, and especially with the ESG issue. I think it's
Mm.
like a very interesting part that we could all learn from, and also see what the future holds, especially for Tesla and its valuation and so on, which is obviously now one of the biggest companies in the world. But we will also would like to have your ideas in general about the Tesla community overall, because right now we are people from UK, Germany, and now you in the US, and it's very international, and we think it's something really special. And so we would just like to bring out the best of all the people who are out there, and not just these big YouTubers, who are also great people, of course, but
Sure.
many people are in the comments just posting over and over again, and most of them don't have their own channels. But
Mm.
I usually go through all the comments, or many comments, many videos, and there are some brilliant insights. And I thought it might be a great idea to have this channel where basically anybody could join and have a talk and share their ideas.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. And I agree with you. This is a very special community. I mean, I always point out how much older I am than all of you. But that does give me a little bit of the hindsight of understanding how rare this is, right? I mean, I was young enough when other new products were introduced that were really news breaking then, but social media wasn't where it is now. The product wasn't as compelling as Tesla is now. So many things have just come together at the right moment to bring these people together. And it's been going on obviously for more than 10 years. I only joined 2 years ago. Initially, like probably most of us, passively, reading through it, learning and getting there. And when this whole rating theme came up, the first one was actually on the credit ratings, how bad Tesla is rated for the credit ratings, which they don't really need because they don't need to get debt, but it does have an impact on pension funds who can't invest in Tesla for these stupid reasons. But anyway, that was the first time I did some sort of my coming out, who I am and what I can bring to the table, and then got very encouraged by lots of other people saying, come on, do more and whatever, and just jumped the line and did it again and again. I mean, I like being seen. I don't mind being seen. And it's actually so comfortable when you're a private person. Before I did it professionally, and then you have to obviously respect the code of conduct by your employer, and you have to play your corporate game. Either you're looking for clients or you want to transmit a certain information. But when you're a private person, just an investor doing it, is so much easier because you can just convey what you know about it.
And speak your
And
mind.
so and it's great because there's so many intelligent people in this Tesla community. I learned so much, and I hope the little I can give some other people learn from me.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, so maybe we should just briefly introduce ourselves so that
Sure.
potential viewers know who we are. So who would like to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Don. Oh, Claude, go ahead.
Sorry. Um, just to give you guys, if you give you guys a bit of extra background, actually, I met Julian on Twitter and met all of you guys on Twitter, really, and we've all been having the same kind of conversations and sort of having the same kind of opinions on all things Tesla, and yeah, um, and I think we're basically family people. You know, we've got kids and we've got lives and we've got all sorts of things on the go, and um, and here we are putting together an opportunity to broaden the conversation and make sort of include more and more people, encourage people to, exactly as you say, Alexandra, just come and speak your mind and get involved and actually enjoy the same thrill that everybody else does when they get a chance to really air their views.
Yeah.
But yes, sorry, yeah.
So you're in the UK, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. So I'm London based, and like Julian was saying, I mean we're all over the world. The Tesla community really is actually a global community, and and getting different opinions from different parts of the world, different parts of the Tesla community around the world, is a very interesting, undertaking, and we can share our enthusiasm for Tesla but we can also help like dispel certain things, like
Yeah.
a lot of
Fun
people will dismiss you as a fanboy or a fangirl, but actually it's a much broader, deeper story than that. It's about the technology. It's about the globe's potential to transition to sustainable energy, to build a better future, and that's actually probably the core of what sparks our enthusiasm more than Elon's genius, which is phenomenal. But we're real people here on the ground. Anyway, yeah. So sorry. Back to introducing ourselves. Yes. So I'm Claude from the UK, father of 5. So busy son. Busy
5.
son.
There you go.
Yeah. 5 cute little rascals running about this house here. So but in the same boat with all the parents everywhere, really, and just happy to just jump in and just contribute as best I may and help encourage all of us to get involved. So yeah,
Great.
who wants to go next?
Julian, go ahead. You got children and you got all your school kids, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a teacher in Germany, and so I also got my own kids. So they're very small right now, just 2 and 5 years old, and that's teaching is what I do for a living, and also it's my passion. I really love teaching English, and it's just great to see the energy of the young people, and so something else happens more and more in recent years. It is especially when it comes to, again, Tesla, that students notice Tesla on the streets, talking about it, and I have a Model 3, and they're just so excited. They always want me to take it to school. I usually ride a bike, but sometimes I can just take the car, and so I'll just leave it at that, and we'll see how it goes from here. So who's next?
Don, go.
Yeah. So again, sorry for my camera is not working this time. I will be fixing it next time. And also thanks for this great opportunity to talk or to go live. This is my first time. Hopefully, we'll follow the next time. I'm a software engineer since ages. I think my first code that I wrote was when I was in the 3rd grade in the school. And yeah, so I'm extremely introvert, so you can't really get a lot of information from me if you try to. But yeah, so I'm actually came to Tesla around 2015. were when I was actually looking at to buy a car, then some of my friends they told me that there's this guy who actually married like 5 times and have a lot of kids, and he's making car, and that car looks great. And I checked in Google, and it was Elon. And I watched I think one of the videos, and the feeling the spirit that Elon has, it was so it's like this is like, this is like true human, just very like just like you. There's like not any CEO with all the ties and cool clothes, but just like you humans. So, and then it was like, oh wow, this is like touching my heart right directly. And then I started looking at the cars, and the Model X, I think the second version was there, and I just ordered the car. And since then, I also started, I think 2016, started investing in Tesla. um, and yeah, so, and to the community, I think we are like yeah, like a big family, and also like a hub of extremely talented people. um, and I think if you you can use any other app like matchmaking apps, and you will not find something like a community in Twitter of Tesla fans. So anyone you meet, it's like a wonder, because anyone you meet from Tesla community is just per default smart person, and this is so cool. And I think really enjoy this. Yeah, actually, I enjoy anything Tesla community offers. So yeah, that's for me.
And let me add, Don is the kindest out there. I mean, every day it's a joy getting
Thank you.
Don's comment telling me off for not using FSD Sunday morning. Not always being there so lovely and supportive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you.
Awesome.
Sure. Good. So a great group. I mean, the funny thing is, so Claude, you're actually British, right? By birth, right?
I was
Julian and
born.
Leon.
I was born in South Africa.
On South Africa,
but
like Elon.
but I've been here for about 16 years now, and my mother was originally from Britain, so it's a bit of a full circle.
That's
Yeah,
great.
but-
And Don,
but
you're from Europe as well, right?
Yeah, I'm located in Germany. Yeah.
In Germany. Oh, that is absolutely funny how the whole world comes together here on this little platform. It is amazing, and it puzzles me every day again, and it really grabs my heart how there's so much exchange. And the other thing, you're completely right, Claude. It's not as if we all always agree on everything. I mean, you probably followed my latest rant about we need a communications team, and then you have the whole engineering crew screaming out like, don't know, we don't know, and I like that. I like that there is an intelligent conversation about topics, and we can agree to disagree, that's no problem, but maybe we bring the whole thing a little bit further.
Exactly. It's just it's a broadening conversation, and it's it truly does seem like a once in a lifetime sort of generational opportunity to be involved as a Tesla investor. But more than that, it's this huge technological and psychological shift towards what really feels like a very refreshing change to sort of
and not canned. You see, that's the one thing I completely agree with Don. It's when you talk about no matter what other big corporation, everything is always canned, right? Their whole image, the CEOs, their messaging at the stock exchange. I mean, obviously they're not on Twitter. They wouldn't tweet shit emojis or whatever, right? No way.
Yeah.
But it's not canned. It's real people talking real thoughts in real time.
Exactly. Yes, not bots. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'd like just to briefly add that what I got as an insight from especially Joe Justice. He has worked at Tesla, but at Microsoft and Amazon before that. And so he knows like all the big technology players, or at least some of them. And he says, also like Fazad, um, people working there, they leave their kind of ego behind and are just there for accomplishing and the mission or working towards it. And I think this is something, at least that I often observe within the Tesla community as well. And I just love that, because it's not like internal politics and everybody has
Yeah.
their own agenda,
Yeah.
but the mission is clear. It's one short sentence, and everybody just goes for it. And this is just so amazing. And yeah, we don't need to agree. Just let's see how to advance the conversation. And this channel is also just one more idea of doing that. And we are very curious to see how this goes.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea. Good.
Yeah. So maybe we can just dive into one of the big topics. So we could just start with the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I think the perfect kind of start for that would be Claude with his story, how he got into the whole community and all things
Great.
related
Yeah,
to it.
nice one, Julian. Okay. All right. So yeah. So how do people find out about Tesla, SpaceX, Elon, etc.? Now, I had heard of Elon and Tesla vaguely years ago, and I was very much programmed into the FUD to hear, oh, some guys trying to use solar panels to power cars and stuff, and it's like, how are you going to get all that power from solar panels? Ridiculous, right? So I dismissed it, and that must have been 2000 and I don't know, 13, 14, 15, somewhere around there. And until from then until now, or from then until 2020, I've just kept my head down in my career, looking after my family, trying to figure out what is there for me to look forward to, what is there for me to build on, that I can feel that I'm creating a good future for my children, and all those sort of things that I think are on many of our minds, if not everybody's minds, especially when you have children. And one night, sort of summertime, 2020, my 3-year-old, who was a bit younger at the time, was a bit she was a little bit restless, and it was sort of late at night. It was about 10 o'clock in the evening. So I took her outside the back garden because the sky was kind of clear, which is kind of a rare thing in London. You get a chance to see the stars a little bit. So took her outside to just see the stars. It was a nice, cool summer breeze. It just calmed her down. Got a few trees in the back garden. And at one point, I sort of spotted this satellite go over there, and I thought, "Oh, well, that's really cool." There goes satellites. You don't always see those, And sort of, I think it was about 30 seconds later, another one came across, right? And I thought, "Oh, that's interesting." Sort of same path. Wow, that's okay. 30 seconds later, another one came past, and about 40 satellites passed every sort of 30-second interval. And I didn't understand what it was at the time, because, like I say, I was very much bought into the FUD. Very much, my mind was very much all over the media and books that I was trying to read and things I was trying to reason for myself and understand. So it's a very clouded sort of mindset that I had at the time. So I didn't know anything about what was actually going on there. So I went inside, got Lottie back down to sleep, sat on the PC and started Googling, because I was wondering, have they arrived, from outer space? What's actually going on here, right? So
at the time.
it
Elon
was,
the
yeah,
alien.
yeah. And because I didn't know anything about it, I had all sorts of thoughts flying through my mind. And it actually didn't take long to do a bit of Googling and realize, oh, this is SpaceX. This is their equipment. And I just started Googling some more, and I just started joining the dots. I started picking up the YouTube videos on starting with SpaceX, and then and then moving over to Tesla, and then sort of just joining the dots, and then kind of just like the penny just dropped. I just realized this is not like just your regular mass media story that is vaguely not so true. It's how much of the material in the mass media do you try to filter to say, I think this could be the case, but I don't know, right? And after seeing what I saw, it just kind of the connection was too strong. So I just realized these guys are for real. And yeah, so what I would like to say is the FUD just evaporated in one night for me, personally. And yeah, and since then I've just been like many of us, just following different channels and getting to know all of the popular Tesla channels and following information and reading books that are being suggested by Elon and people that he speaks to, and it's a terrific journey. So yeah, that's kind of to give you an
So
idea.
do you drive a Tesla now? Are you a Tesla investor?
I've got Starlink and I've got
Good.
a Model X on order. Right?
Good.
So yeah, so I have to go for the 7 because of the big family, right? So
Sure.
the
I hear you.
It's 7-seater,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Connection right now, it's through Starlink, right?
yes, I'm coming to you guys live through Starlink right now.
Wow.
Yeah. And as far as I can tell, I haven't seen any other Starlink dishes in the neighborhood. So
we're getting ours actually today. Well, we got the dish a couple of weeks ago, but the installer told us we needed a certain mount, and the mount is coming today. And then
awesome.
next Tuesday they're going to put it up. I'm really looking forward. I mean, this and saying goodbye to Cox. I mean, I'm probably doesn't tell you anything in Europe. Cox as an internet provider, the day you can kiss them goodbye is a glorious day.
Okay.
But,
yeah.
Alexandra, can you already like move it? Is it already like mobile or is it stationary?
Well, we could do two things, and actually that explains why we're taking it now. So Cox has quite a good up and download stream. We now also have here in Santa Barbara Frontier, which has the fiber, which is even better. So I don't really need Starlink, but I want Starlink, right? I mean, just because I'm such a Elon fangirl, I just want it since I can have it. So I ordered it. But the main reason why I took it, because it comes with a cost. It comes with this $500 deposit to start it off, and then it's $110 per month, is that it has this remote option where instead of $110, you pay $135 per month, and you can just, open it up anywhere in the middle of nowhere. And we're actually moving next year to Vegas, and Vegas doesn't have Starlink yet. So my whole thinking was that I take it now, I take it with the option that I can move it around and I can take it to Vegas, because in Vegas, the whole internet situation is miserable, because everything was built out for these huge hotels, but the whole neighborhoods around it are badly served. So I'll be one of the rare ones who has Starlink in Vegas, and we're looking forward. But you see how I think a year and ahead having it, I'm going completely nuts now.
Okay.
Yeah.
The enthusiasm can get you thinking that way. I mean, I know that I've been thinking about this, ordering a Model X, and I've been trying to save, and I've been trying to manage my finances. I've had this argument in my mind about how should I just put everything I've got into the stock, or should I try to put something aside so that I can make a purchase and get a vehicle and just not just talk about it, but join the community, and the enthusiasm gets you thinking, all right, okay, it's got to happen. So what's happening next year? Right, 5-year plan. My 5-year plan.
You should see how I manage my reservation. So I have an X on order. That was initially an S, an S long range, and then it was becoming an S plaid, and then it was going down to S long range again, and then it became an X plaid. And then I was like, okay, this is stupid, because what I really need is an X long range 5-seater, because I don't really like the 6-seater. So this single reservation changed about 5-6 times, and I'm so grateful they're patient with me. I think when they see my phone number, it's like, oh my God, who takes her today? And then I have two Cybertrucks on order, and I mean they're just lying there for the moment. But just wait until we can configure it, because then I'm going to go crazy again. I can't decide. It's like when you go and buy shoes and suddenly you want 15 pairs, right? It's a full addiction. It's crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I sold my Model 3 recently. I own Model X still, but I very very often I open the Tesla.com and just try to configure Model S, Plaid, anything, just for fun. It's like it's like opening Twitter. You just browse it and configure save, and then tomorrow you will do the different configuration.
I saw and when those camel interior came out a couple of weeks ago, when von Holzhausen was teasing those, I was like, okay, I'm going to change it again. I want those, right? So I was waiting. Completely crazy. Every day I checked it out, and then came out that actually it's an upgrade for 30,000. So that was my limit. I'm not upgrading an interior color for 30,000. There's no way. Even I won't go there. So I settled for my white ones. But how crazy can you be to even consider that, to even wanting to change your reservation, knowing you have to wait so much anyway, and give up that, the time you have already lapsed, and that you can now get closer to it and think, okay, I'm giving it up because now I want it different. And I have 2 Teslas in front of the door. It's not as if I don't have any yet.
That's a real addiction.
That's actually when you go on my Twitter profile, on the picture it says, what addiction? Well, it is an addiction.
But
I think,
sorry.
Sorry.
Don't go ahead.
Yeah. As Claude, you said, Twitter community is like, you are already, like, per default, if you're a Tesla fan, you're already in it. But I think, as you said, if you either have the car or have stocks, you have different feeling. You're like part of something huge, and any movement in data, it will like move your emotions. And I think, for me, it's like I invest and I never actually sell. But the whole the fun and the tweets and all these funny emotions that people show when stock moves, this is like real like drama I really want in my life.
Entertainment, right? Exactly.
Daily entertainment.
Do you day trade, Don? Do you trade on a daily basis, or are you just sitting?
I actually never traded.
Okay.
I just look in the price and I try to find some funny tweet for this.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to refer to Alexandra's sentence about really being addicted. So it's a quote by Elon, I think. He says, when is the last time you actually bought a product that you really love? And it's one of these examples. Like, you really care about it. It's great. It's amazing. It's the safest car you could possibly buy to protect yourself, but of course your family. And I think there's so tremendous value in it. And people are throwing like stones and rocks at it, at least on the media side, because they are profiting from reporting negative kind of occasions or issues on it. And that's obviously also connected with the financing of the media outlets with ads from car makers, and Tesla doesn't advertise in that way. And so coming back to the initial question I had about the FUD. So this is related to the PR, public relations department, that I think, Alexandra, you think they should have. And Don,
let me limit that a bit. I don't want PR in the old sense. I think that's just one of those old corporate ideas that you need a PR department which greases certain media and which tries to manipulate, where manipulation is part of the business model, right? Of these PR things. I don't think Tesla needs that, and I don't think Elon would ever go for that. But what I do think is absolutely missing is the basic information going out. Just this morning again. So Shanghai is closing for 2 days, a Friday before weekend and a Monday after, I think, 1st and 4th of July. Reuters spin the whole story. They're closed over 2 weeks. Now, it is true that a Friday is in 1 week and a Monday is in the other week. So 2 days became over 2 weeks, right? Which was completely exaggerated, but not completely untrue, right? It was just spinning it in the worst possible way. If just simultaneously there would have been a blog post or a press release saying we're closed on the 1st and the 4th, we're expanding our Y production line, we're opening again on the 5th, that would have just calmed the whole thing down. But in the meantime, you just let it jump up, the whole drama unfolds again. You have all these people jumping on it because they love negative headlines. You have to understand, for media, as soon as Tesla is in the title, it just brings money, real money, not only
Yes.
clicks, brings advertising money and everything to it. So by giving them on a serving dish the empty space of nobody giving out the facts, you just allow all this FUD to be there all the time. And I just wish somebody would do it. But I'm hopeful. Like I said this morning on Twitter, they seem to recruit a couple of people. There seems to be stuff going on. So I haven't given up yet.
And it's on a lot of people's minds. I mean, you hear this on other channels. I think Zach and Jesse on now, they talk about this a lot, and they're always joking about how they want to be the PR team.
And Joshua talked about it as well. I actually think us YouTubers, Twitter family, whatever, I don't think we should be the official PR for Tesla. I mean, first of all, it comes with quite some responsibility. Second, you are addressing an audience that is not used to going to Warren Redlich or to whoever. They don't want any what they consider fanboys and fangirls in what they consider a cult, which obviously we're not. They need something quasi-official, right? Just a blog post every morning, a little thing, today this and that, and then whenever something comes out, quick. It doesn't have to be much. And as I said to Faza 2 weeks ago, it's so low-hanging fruit. I mean, come on, the guy lands rockets, even land 2 rockets. Oh, there we go. And so that it's just such a shame not to do it. Oh, let us see them. Oh, gone they are.
Claude, you can show them.
Exactly.
Unless you don't want to, of course.
Yeah, but I think you understand where I'm coming from. I mean, I don't want to change Elon. I don't want him to do one less tweet than he's doing. He lives his life. That's not my problem. I just would like an easy to point to official version from Tesla so that 3/4 of this is killed before it can even exist.
Yeah, thank you. Don, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think Elon is like, I in my personal experience, I tried to start also companies, and I maybe as all of you, we know that actually bringing one company to success is extremely difficult, and Elon is like doing this maybe I think like 5 times, like 5x every day, and I think Elon said things like these things like bringing this PR team is not really needed, because Elon is invited in some talks very often, and there will be questions that actually ask the questions that the whole media, the FUD, is spreading, and then Elon like comments on this with 1 sentence, and then that settles down everything. Of course, it doesn't happen always, but I think that's how Tesla thinks, that we don't need PR.
Yeah. So, Alexandra, you just mentioned maybe a blog post, but I always think about how can you, for example, with the FSD, let's say it unfolds and it becomes level 4 in the next years, and there will be so much fun. I think it will be insane once it's live and not beta anymore. Maybe restricted to certain areas, but official, you can just maybe even there are robot taxis already cruising around certain cities. So I think the FUD will be just insane, and even the blog post might not reach like the overall population. Of course, the media outlets will look at it, but maybe. What do you think?
My thinking is we have a problem today, right? The problem is not yet an FSD problem. The problem at the moment is just general business matters. Who are they recruiting? Who are they not recruiting? Who are they letting go? Whatever. Let's already start cleaning that up. But I agree with you. Once FSD is generalized, people will distort stories or will amplify stories that don't need to be amplified. But we have put in place already something where there's some communication going on, and at least fact-based fact sheets or whatever, or Ross Gorber called it a misinformation communications team. Fair enough. Call it whatever you wanted. I don't think we can call it PR because that will never go. But tackle today's problem, and then when the FSD problem comes. Now, the thing I am actually quite, and Don will help me on that one. I mean, I am a chicken for FSD. I had FSD. I was trying it out. I don't know whether it's my nerves or my need to dominate or whatever it was, but I wasn't feeling comfortable with it yet. It seems to improve a lot, and I'm sure I will pick it up further down the road when I, it's more mature, before it becomes public and not beta anymore. But even the version I tried, which freaked me out, I admit, was very safe. I mean, I never was in a situation where I felt I was closer to an accident than what could happen just me driving by myself. So I'm not so sure we're actually going to run into a lot of, this is the FSD killing people or whatever, because it is a really, really, really safe tool.
Yeah, that's true. But
I suppose it's just that. Sorry.
Yeah, your name on Twitter is Tesla Boomer Mama, which I think is just a really funny name. And I don't know that much about.
Right? It was like, okay, well, I'm my mama, old enough to be a boomer. I mean, really old enough to be a boomer. Obviously, I had to put Tesla in the name, right?
I don't know about the regular media consumption of your demographic, so I thought maybe the Twitter PR department could even if it's just online, it won't reach that many people. Let's even just think older people, like in their 70s or 80s.
Here we go, Don. He's turning me old again.
Sorry. I didn't intend to do it.
Don't you worry, that is a standing joke because somebody treated me for elderly lady yesterday. So I'm
yeah.
Sure whether I should take it as a compliment or really be offended.
Okay.
But there you go. Go ahead, please. So you're right that actually different reception groups have different means of getting their information, right? I mean, I think online is becoming everyday's life now, but they may read the Wall Street Journal, or they may just read things that we're not so much into it. And if those journalists don't get the right information, at least the fact sheets. I mean, if they look at what the heck, but at least they have to also add some factual stuff to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe even TV. Sorry, just to finish up. Maybe Tesla needs even to put it on TV eventually, or old school newspapers, just to reach like people of the voter demographics, like when you see who's voting, and then
I don't even remember, but it was millions of people watching Jay Leno, right? I mean, I love Jay Leno anyway, and I watched Jay Leno prior to getting into Tesla, but obviously that episode was just epic. Also, Elon going on Saturday Night Live, right? There were millions of people watching it, and there is still something for TV, and it doesn't even have to be advertising. But I do believe once you get some goodwill from journalists anyway, there will be docuseries or reportage style stuff that may come on TV. I mean, obviously today none of the journalists is even interested because they don't get any interaction or feedback. You can't even call anybody. I mean, if you're a journalist today, you can call investor relations, Martin, which I'm sure is a great guy. But that's investor relations. He's supposed to be there for investors, for fund managers, if they have any questions. This is not communications, right? And so when a journalist calls Tesla, there is no number to be dialed. There is nobody.
Can I offer almost like a parallel? First of all, I agree that there are elements of PR that we want to think about in terms of potentially not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak. And a parallel that comes to mind is in the work that I do. I'm in sort of I've been in the contracting world over here in London, and I tend to service various corporations in the financial sector, etc. And I usually just help out with data. I'm usually just think of me as a glorified electronic data janitor. I go in and clean up the data, and but over the years, I've noticed that I've actually developed quite a personal dislike for the general PMO, the project management office, because I've
Mhm.
often found it too bureaucratic.
Mhm.
And I think if I had to compare that to traditional PR, it's the bureaucracy of it that kind of
Yeah.
chokes its effectiveness. And it's only in recent years, only in the last couple of years, that I've actually come across and worked really well with a small team of project managers who I would regard as the PR for our work piece, because
Mhm.
the way they structure their documents, very, very um, um, succinct. They take the time to understand the work
Mhm.
piece, and then they translate that with very good looking slide decks, all within the right policy, and then they store those every 2 weeks or periodically. And
Yeah.
anytime the wider business wants to understand what's happening with our work piece, our PR are those documents and the conversations that they have with the project
And
managers
you
who
make an excellent
effective.
point. You make an excellent point. I always feel Tesla is speaking to engineers, right? I mean, I explained that with Fazat in these color codes, right? There's actually a German business psychologist who put it very good in 4 color codes. Very great. I really love his work. Very simplified. But typically, the people interested in Tesla, early investors in Tesla, driving Teslas, early adopters, are what they call the blue crowd, right? The blue crowd are factual people. They can think way ahead. They are very logical. And
Yeah,
once they have early on adopted the product, they're all in, right? They understand it, they dig into it, go into the rabbit hole, whatever. You
yeah,
find thousands of those among that. I think that's why so many people in that Tesla community get so well along. They understand each other. You give these people 130 pages of impact report, they love it. They read
yeah,
it, they go in alpha. Now, journalists are not that. If you have that character, the last job in the world you want to do is become a journalist, because the way these people think is not, I absorb all this information and now I simplify it and make a sexy, funny, interesting little story out of it. That's not at all in the way an engineer processes information, right? An engineer goes there and then goes deeper. A journalist goes a little bit in there and then tries to get a cute story out of
a
it and throws
headline.
it out, and exactly a headline out of it. And two hours later comes the next rabbit hole where he goes a little bit into it, and that's it. So Tesla's communication today is focused by engineers towards engineers. But there are 75% of the world who are not engineers and who don't understand how engineers function, who can't do anything with raw data, who don't have the time, the energy, the knowledge, the willingness to go deep down into it. Yet they still need to understand it. Now you can say, okay, ignore them. They will understand what a good car it is. Maybe they come from the sustainable angle and take it from there, or maybe they come just from the speed angle or whatever, but they will understand the Tesla car. Sure. But you need the regulators. You need the journalists to relay your message. You need lots of other connecting dots that are not engineers, and that you offend by your passiveness, that they only get the FUD like you did, and they at one moment have to take a decision on something that concerns Tesla. It could be very minor, but it could also be major stuff, like going from level 2 to level 4, or admitting a patent. And again, for the patent, it's not that bad, because at USPTO, there are real engineers sitting in the USPTO offices going through those patents. But for example, trademarks, in the trademark part of USPTO, they're lawyers, they're more of the regulator type examiners. So you just create bad will where it would be so easy to create goodwill, because the story is so wonderful and just needs to be packaged in a little bit more of a digestible manner, and daily updates, right? And just, this is the topic of today. These are the facts. Now, if you want to write whatever, write whatever. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
All
And at
right.
the moment, we get that from an array of different YouTube channels, essentially.
Yeah.
and many of them are great in the way that they break down this information into, as you say, digestible packages.
But it's not the official version from Tesla, and the journalists won't pick it up. They won't say Rob Mauer said, or Warren Redlich said, or
Exactly.
Dave Lee said. That's not how they function. And they're not going to listen to an hour and a half of a YouTuber going down the same rabbit hole. That's not, I mean, we do. I love it. I don't fall asleep one evening without my Tesla videos, right? But
they need the executive summary that can speak to the layman.
Like your PR team makes it digestible to the other people. Now, I'm actually surprised that I checked those YouTube videos, and I mean, I think the one Dave Lee did last week with "Will there be an Apple car?" whatever, 85,000 views. I mean, this is wonderful. Our community is just growing. At light speed, right? But it still is only 85,000. I mean, there are so many millions and billions out there that are not there yet, right? So let's also address them.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe one more point. I think that there are two stages. The first stage was where did you guys read the book? I think the first book about Elon. Here, he actually, in the first stage where Tesla was actually getting a lot of FUD, where there was actually pretty much no cars outside yet, and Elon was in vacation, and they actually had PR team at that time, back at the time, and then they got some negative article outside, and Elon personally answered to these FUD from vacation, and I think. But in that stage, there was no really products outside, and now we have the products outside, and it is already the number one or top three. All of them are Teslas, and so I think now the confidence shifted, and now so actually putting out all these PR articles would be one of the next point of failures, maybe, or at the next source for the FUDs. Maybe they will spin up from there another FUD if they want. So I think the focus they put, I think, is just the product, and the product speaks itself, and that's how they made to the top three worldwide with $0 advertisement and PR costs. It means a lot. So if they now start doing the PR, then it actually means, okay, now we couldn't make it. Now, okay, let's try with PR. I think this is how I think that without going PR and making the top three list, it is it's unique. I think,
it's true. It's almost like they can maximize their focus.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. It is unique, and they got there, no doubt, Don. But you also have to understand that actually enemies shifted. Enemies are much bigger today. Elon by himself has a target just because of his personal behavior, voting for this and buying Twitter and all those things. But the other thing also that changed is Tesla proved, as you rightly say, to be so far ahead to the other that it actually becomes an existential threat to all the others. And so the way they construct FUD and pay media outlets to help them construct FUD is much bigger. Now, Elon wanting, and that's happening, I tweeted this morning the careers page of Tesla showing that they are recruiting a hefty legal team. That's all fine, but the legal team can much better fight nasty articles if there has been an official statement by Tesla before, which was not respected by the media. If you don't put anything out, I mean, what can you fight against? That's good. And I have little illusion that anybody listens now to me and does anything, but I do hope those lawyers will be able to convince Elon and tell him, look, we need something out for every subject first so that we can fight it afterwards.
Point.
True.
Thank you. Okay, Don, you mentioned that you're a software engineer, right?
True, yeah.
Okay, as we just talked about FSD and all the FUD that comes with it, well, possibly. As a software engineer, so do you have any insights or ideas about Tesla's way to becoming also an AI company? I don't know your exact work as a software engineer, but maybe you have some thoughts about it, how this could play out, and yeah, what you basically think about it.
Yeah, I think I'm not in the AI area yet, but I have experience totally. I think I generally get the idea. Um, I think as a software engineer, I think you can make a progress, huge progress from today to tomorrow. You can.
Sorry, your sound is muffled.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, but
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like it's a matter of a line of code, sometimes to get the best performance. So it's like a lot of people don't understand actually. They say, okay, so FST is now like level X, and so it takes like I don't know like 20 years until they get blah blah all these FUD. But what they don't understand is like Tesla has the best team ever in software engineering. Um, and it's a part of you just have some small leverage in software where you can like finally find the place that you can fix, and suddenly you have huge progress in software code. It's not like long process. um, so um, so I think in that regard, and I know a lot of a lot of my friends actually, they are also software engineers. They are working actually for Volkswagen and Audi, actually in the IT sector, and and they tell me how they actually work, and all the stack, and I think, oh wow, Tesla is like at least 20 years ahead, and the thing is that the Tesla improves very fast, and as you improve faster, then it's like compounding. Your speed will be exponential. Um, this is yeah, this is not understood outside very well.
You know that if you don't mind me contributing to that, Don, it's true that at least in my experience too, I also see this often that in these large corporations, often they have a product. If it's an in-house built product, so it's been developed in-house, very often first you have certain developers who want to make it fancy. They want to make it complicated, and these complex mechanisms become black boxes, and then down the line black boxes are built on top of black boxes. And one thing to appreciate here, it seems to be that what Tesla have done, and what is deep in their ethos, is to break down all those black boxes and strip everything out and go right back to first principles thinking, and to build the thing up again from the ground. And if you're willing to go to that extent, then you most likely are going to find that leverage point very much further upstream, and gain a much more leverage on the objective than anyone who's sort of downstream and just taking things off the shelf and relying on too many suppliers, and sort of hamstringing themselves into a corner where they don't have that leverage. So that what you're saying, Don, makes a lot of sense to me, at least, as well.
Yeah.
So maybe as I'm sure all of us have watched a lot of or all of Elon's talks, and he's very well versed in lots of different fields, especially also in programming. I mean, he used to be a programmer for like years, especially with PayPal, and before that with Zip2 and so on. So, do you think the overall focus of Tesla, when especially generalized AI becomes a thing, kind of, in the, I don't know, maybe next 10 years or something, especially with a bot, do you think the focus of Tesla as a whole will a bit shift towards AI and programming, because the sustainability issue is just a matter of ramping up. overall, on the energy and car aspect. But what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So I think generally Tesla is nothing but just software that's running inside a box, and this is what it is. And it also, as they also now going to with the Tesla bot, um, it's like a software that you can actually, it's like a code that has a lot of interfaces, APIs to outside, and whether you point that API to a wheel or to a robot or to something else, it's just a design thing, I think. But the core software is, um, so I would imagine it was like a lot of stacks that communicate with each other, and outside it's so modular that you can dock it somewhere you want. So the core is like the AI that like so in the long term the AGI, and and this is, it's like a bird like flying just with eyes, and this is what Tesla are trying to achieve, and if this is achieved, then um, you know, ramping up the cars is just a very um, um, yeah, like very small part of it, you know.
Yeah, he always refers to them as autonomous robots already.
Yeah, on
They're like
wheels.
just the
Yeah,
package of the inside, which is the AI eventually when
yeah,
FSD really works.
yeah. And I
Uh,
think also, I think as a software engineer, I see a package of code is like human is also like nothing else but like a black box that you run lots of codes in it,
Yeah,
and data moves from here and there. It's like you're breathing and you're giving something out, and this is your output, and what you're taking is your input. You're like a software. You're nothing else but like a software that's running inside a body that's like a biological body in our case, but in Tesla it's just chassis. And so this is how they look at things, I think. And
yeah,
yeah, so just getting those data and making best decisions out of these data, and yeah, so
Can you
now
imagine, Don? I mean, you say that everybody understands this. I understand it half, but there we go. Now, imagine a second you tell that to somebody who has no engineering background, and you tell them, yeah, they're building the cars like a human body. We just have this body; it's a chassis, and there is the eyes, and there's the brain, and there is the breath. Nobody
and
can follow. I mean, we do, and I love what you're saying, right? But
yeah,
that's why I think this enormous communication gap happens
yeah,
between those that have experienced Tesla and have tried to understand or even got very
yeah,
far in understanding Elon, and the rest of humanity. It's just
and
it's enormous. I don't think we even realize anymore.
and there's so many prejudices that you have to try to diffuse before you
Yeah,
can start to just speak to somebody on the level about what this technological shift actually is. And
yeah.
like like
And
like
then
like
they're
what you said,
worried, right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and like you're saying, Don, that and I agree that it's almost like you're saying, and I that the physical part of it, the mechanics and the structure of the vehicles, and that is a very is actually a relatively small piece of
and
the
easy.
pie here. The
Yeah.
much greater part of it is the software,
Mm.
and yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And
yeah. And I think all the other car companies, they focus, I think, in the wrong place. They focus on the appearance of the car, um, but
Correct.
the inner part stays same, I think, since ages. Um,
Yeah,
and a lot of
yeah,
people buy the cars just by the appearance. They never
yeah.
pay attention to
mm,
the internals. And actually, I actually also agree with Alexandra. A lot of people, if I drive and park my Model X somewhere, people come to me and they ask, "Is it a fully electric car?" They just don't know. This is, and I say, "Yeah, this is
yeah, they don't
Tesla, and
realize
it
it.
is full electric."
Yeah,
And they say,
Mm.
"Are you sure it's not hybrid or something?" No, no, it is
Or,
full
or the
electric.
ones that come and tell me, "Oh my God, it looks so empty inside." Sure, it is empty. There's nothing.
yeah. There's no need for all the extra stuff. And actually, to
Exactly.
that point as well, Don, that is this was it just recently that the Mach E was recalled apparently And
Right.
I wonder if that has also kind of fallen victim to the make it look good, never mind what's inside.
Yeah.
And then you look at
Exactly.
Sandy Munro's teardown
Yeah.
and you start joining the dots, and you realize that yes, I agree, it is still very much about appearances, rather than actual kind of.
But you do understand how detrimental that is for everybody else out there. I mean, they can't do it. You can't change a Daimler-Benz or a BMW, or I mean, Volkswagen is trying, but I doubt that they can, or a GM, to suddenly become a software company, understanding that what they've been doing for tens and tens and tens and tens of years
Yeah.
is of little value now, because what it has to do is think and operate before you put whatever. I mean, when I hear Mary Barra telling us she's going to have 30 models in 15 different colors, and I'm like, oh God, I mean, and mahogany, I'm sure some mahogany in there. And
Yeah.
it's desperate times.
Yes,
But-
and it may actually
Yeah.
be more detrimental to come out with that rather than to come out with something a little
Yeah.
more honest, perhaps. But yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
But can you really imagine Tesla advertisement like with BMW, with some like, you know, beautiful ladies like in the advertisement, and then you see a lot huge mountains and a Tesla driving. I cannot imagine this. I cannot imagine
I
a
mean,
Tesla
they do
being
in
advertised.
China. They do in China. I mean, you've probably seen those, and they're beautiful, like a young family going camping, and
True.
it's all. So there is something to be transmitted, and I think there's also something to be transmitted on the security side. But I don't think America and Europe currently need advertisement. There is enough demand and enough wait lines. But what we do need is cleaning up the FUD in the press, because that is
Yeah.
going to regulators that we need sooner or later. I don't think we need to stimulate sales. I mean, there's enough sales for a long time to go.
And
That's
that,
true.
yeah. And,
All right. Yeah. We're now 1 hour in. I don't know about your time and what you want to contribute to this discussion. So can we go just a few more minutes, or I don't know?
yeah, sure.
You're up to.
Well, if you guys
Sure.
like, and then we can prepare to be continued.
Yeah, of course, as well. Yeah,
It's a big,
got
it's a big subject.
I wanted to talk about the ESG ratings again, because I have some questions regarding that.
And I have an echo from your YouTube. I don't know whether it's a YouTube or whatever, but there is a little echo.
Thank you for saying that. I'll just mute you while I'm talking.
Okay.
Okay. So just for potential viewers, so the ESG rating is more and more important for debt and asset managers. That's what I got from your talks, and it replaces the traditional credit ratings, right?
Yes.
So there's this ISSB, the International Sustainability Standards Board, and it sets rules what information a company has to publish, consisting of the government or private companies such as German car makers. It's really strange, I think.
Well, let me jump in there, because I'm still working on how I can transmit that message, because it's such a big subject and I don't know how sensitive it is. So the goal of governments is that any publicly listed company in their annual reports not only has numbers, you know, how we're used to reading balance sheets and P&Ls and all that, but will also have information on ESG. Okay, ecological, social, governance. So, sorry, environmental. I always say ecological, environmental, social, and governance. And to make it more or less globally standardized, the goal of the whole thing is that COP26 in November last year missioned IFRS, which is this foundation we're getting into in a second, to set up ISSB. And I'm sorry, it's all these letters. I can't explain it without naming these letters, right? So this is this board that is coming up with the numbers that everybody has to publish, right? So this is a very, very crucial moment, because this is how for the next years and years and years to come, sustainability and social and governance is going to be globally reported and will be looked at by the financial markets. So ISSB is in place now. The first directors are there. They are recruiting still, and they want to come up with these key data that everybody has to fulfill. Now, that sounds so far reasonable until you understand that the foundation that's set up, so this IFRS foundation, is actually financed by certain governments, but also by German car makers and Brazilian and Chinese petro companies. Okay, so, and nobody has looked into that. And I mean, it didn't took me half a day to find it. I searched for it, because as soon as I have foundation, I want to go a bit further, but there it was. So anybody can find it. The links are all under my videos. And so that conflict of interest, I think is very interesting, because if you suddenly say it is much more important that they have a handbook on how to recruit minorities, and I'm all for recruiting minorities, right? But what I'm trying to say is, if suddenly the focus is on something bureaucratic rather than ecological or environmental, Tesla will have bad grades. Now, you may say, what the heck about bad grades? Well, yes and no, because it would mean, like we have seen on credit ratings, that lots and lots of money from asset managers that are selling ESG funds will not be allocated to Tesla. So what happened actually on the 17th of May is, when S&P threw Tesla out of their ESG index, there were 2 million shares of Tesla sold, just because there were ESG S&P index funds that S&P decided to throw Tesla out under the most obscure and horrible circumstances. I mean, completely screwed. And then there is these passively managed benchmark tracking funds that, like that, throw the stock out, right? And I mean, this is still small today, but the assets that are projected to be indexed on ESG standards are projected to be 50 trillion. Now, I just hate the idea that there would be 50 trillion out there, and some S&P or some MSCI or some other body would decide that from one day to the other, now it's Tesla, tomorrow it's somebody else, in and out and whatever. I just hate the whole idea about it. And then the other thing I'm really very sensitive about is these international standards that are currently decided. There's discussions going on that they will be screwed to make anything ESG wonderful that Tesla will not be report on, or that just doesn't correspond to the way Tesla is set up, because it is so non-conform, right? Just so that other people get bonus points for stuff that is completely ridiculous, but they maneuvered everything to get those bonus points. And so then I looked, sorry to continue 2 seconds. Then I looked into the S&P rating, and I mean, somebody who wants to follow that can watch my long video, but just to make it very, very clear, these ESG ratings by S&P and MSCI is not better, are completely built with keeping in mind that the people that are then rated can go back to MSCI or can go back to S&P, learn how they were rated, get coached to get better ratings. So the whole thing is just done to build better scores if they're paying and if they're delivering data. And so it's ground up greenwashing the way they're doing it, pretending this is now sustainability.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the ESG score is according to certain criteria. And then what I found really interesting is, in the end, there's a subjective media and stakeholder analysis, which just throws everything out of the window. And then it just
exactly. So I mean, the S&P one is absolutely the most mind-boggling crap I've seen for a long time. I'm sorry if they want to sue me, come. But it's just crazy. So they've got all this wonderful score, which is ridiculous. to start with, but then you have a number, right? And so Tesla's number was 28. The average automobile sector was 31. That's goodie points out of 100, right? So there were 28. Now they pretend with 28, Tesla didn't make the cut because it was not in the top 75% of the industry. Remember 31, 28? That sounds a little bit crazy, especially since GM and Hyundai were 78, right? So you had these two companies way up there. You had the average at 31, but at 28, you fell out. Well, why did you fall out? Because then at the very end, somebody at S&P looks at media and stakeholder analysis. Stakeholder means, people important in the industry and their opinion about it. And there they decided that Tesla doesn't make the cut. So even though maybe 28 was enough to make the cut, well, no, it wasn't there out there. So the date was arbitrary. How they were thrown out was arbitrary. But there we were, and now just take it.
Yeah.
Could you find out who it actually was that does this analysis?
Well, it's this Swiss group that they bought. So they called SAM, Sustainable Asset Management. They bought them in end of 2019, beginning of 2020. So this is they were initially independent, then they were bought by Robeco. And then Robeco sold it end of 2019 to S&P. S&P, as have other players, are buying all of these little boutique firms. So if ever you want to make good money, just set up a sustainable rating firm. That seems to be the thing to do. And then they buy you up. Actually, from my good old days at Moody's, so I was at Moody's from 1997 to 2004, which was a moment, that was .com and all that. There was a moment that lots of quantitative credit ratings came up. And Moody's then had a very good strategy, and I was actually personally involved in one, is we were looking at these companies, and if they were half good, we were buying them and we canned them. That's it. They didn't exist 3 days later, right? The whole strategy was not giving them any, exposure. And I think that is still the strategy. So whatever is out there, good or bad, they rather buy it, combine it. Some of them have more exposure, some of them just get merged to other stuff. So so this Swiss company, I think they're still sitting physically in Zurich. I don't know them personally. They are the ones who made this decision.
Thank you.
So it's a bit like taking diamonds off the market sort of thing.
There you are.
So in the end of your video, you're saying that the SEC is currently proposing amendments to what the ESG label actually means, like having more disclosure. And let's assume the proposed amendments to be more specific. They don't go through. They are not accepted. And in the long run, do you think Teslas will still kind of win and become, when it becomes so obvious that it needs to be included in these ESG ratings? Or
well, I mean, the thing is, like I said, the whole thing is now this public scoring model. So if ISSB comes out with as ridiculous measures as currently S&P is using, and I tried to explain in that video, it's not only S&P, it's MSCI, it's other, the Bloomberg groups and all that. There are a couple of main players all trying to merge into this ISSB knowledge. But if it stays so ridiculous, right? If this is about handbooks, and if this is, and if the handbook criteria means much more than the greenhouse gas emission criteria, well, if that is what the public wants, right? I mean, I can scream in my little corner as much as I want, but if that's what gets through, I don't think Tesla will ever have a mentality to bureaucratically improve stuff just for the sake of having a better rating. I just don't think, I mean, we can't get them to have a comms department, right? Can you imagine now having hundreds of people work to get better score? And never, ever. So what does that mean? Well, is it going to become a war between ESG scores and Tesla? Because obviously Tesla is much better on most of those matters. Maybe not on all, maybe there's some governance stuff. And I mean, having a key person risk and all that, that can all be evaluated. I don't mind that it's not 100%, right? It can be 100% in my heart and it can be 80% on paper. But being so ridiculously rated that it's 28%, there's obviously a bias, right? And so if this bias continues by asking the questions that are unfavorable for Tesla, plus adding this overlapping source at the end that nobody understands where it comes from and how it goes. So by having these type of rating models in place, scoring models in place, Tesla will do worse and will find less asset managers purchasing their debt. Now, if you tell me, well, they will have no debt because even their leasing is going to be repackaged or whatever, well, if they have no debt, it won't matter. I mean, it will matter in image terms, but it won't matter in refinancing terms. But will that always be like that? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball.
All right, thank you. That's very insightful, and I really think it's great that you got out there and presented the facts, and got a lot of attention also by rather famous people. And I really hope that Elon himself also sees this and recognizes the value that you provide by doing this.
Thank you. Well, I got very passionate about it. The more I think about it, the more I get passionate. So sometimes I just have to get down to earth again.
All right. So I got a question for Don, if that's fine.
Sure.
So you're like very active on Twitter, and so you're. I think we all are kind of very active. Also, you, Alexandra, but especially you, Don. So, what value do you think Twitter overall in the way it works now, but possibly even when there's an acquisition by Elon Musk, what can it bring to Tesla's mission?
Yeah, good question. I think for Tesla, it will not change a lot. It will not make that big difference. And I'm not sure in terms of data. I heard somewhere or read somewhere that they will use the all the information to train FSD, but I'm not sure if it's true. But I think yeah. But generally, I think we are already Twitter is, to me, it's like we are already a very steady community, and if Elon buys it, I think Elon will allow more opinions, and yeah. So to be honest, I don't see any shift if Elon buys Twitter for Tesla mission or the products. Yeah.
And overall, what do you think could he do with it, especially since you're a software engineer?
Oh, I mean, yeah, this is that is the best question. I think you know, as I use Twitter a lot, I see a lot of bugs, obviously, and yeah, I think and also as we have seen through different leaks that the engineers at Twitter, they don't really like work, and I think coming Elon on board and like restructuring everything, and making the software work like it's supposed to, that's great. That will be great. And yeah, and it like reporting features directly. It would like you would be reporting new features like directly to Elon. Not some black box team, but just to Elon. And it will be like it. I'm driving now Tesla, and I have kind of virtual direct relationship with Elon. It's like I'm like driving in a car that is made by Elon's dream and vision and mission. And if I then use the Twitter, then if I like click every time on a tweet button, then I will know that this is now being engineered by engineers that talk to Elon. It's like you have this direct or indirect connection. I think it feels great.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice one.
So yeah, maybe we can kind of wrap up the whole conversation, unless you got something that you really want to share. Just as a side note, Claude and I, when we thought about this channel, it's not like we want to be the actual hosts. I mean, somebody has to do it, but it's not like it's our show or something, right? It is coming out of the community and for the community, and actually for every person on earth to see and watch for free. So we're always open to any kinds of ideas and topics and so on. And there are so many great, for for example, just Twitter accounts, or also some YouTubers or people on YouTube commenting without any video on their own channel. And so if there's any idea you'd like to bring up, you can always do it, right?
Do you stream? So you stream this now to YouTube, right? Do you also stream it to Twitter Live? Because that seems to also be, the hangout place where people join the live streams.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Hey, and I suppose that's going to be, well, there are always going to be so many different mediums, and yes,
But I
I've
don't
noticed
feel
those live conversations.
Yeah, the restream seems to be the right place to diffuse it on multiple channels, right? I'm certainly the most less knowledgeable of us four on all this, so you'll have to educate me.
It definitely seems like one pretty good option out there. Like Julian, you were saying that you're reading up on reviews about Restream, and it's a pretty popular choice. And yeah, the more and more versatility it gets to link up to YouTube and to link up to other platforms, essentially, the better, the more widespread the conversation goes. And it's but like Julian's saying, it's the essence of the whole idea seems to be around everybody having an opportunity to get involved and to just have their say. And that's like, credit is due to everyone who gets involved, really. And like you were saying earlier, Don, as well, it's at this point in time, it's relatively new to us as a small group of people, and I wouldn't be surprised to find that many people out there probably would love to jump in and say something, but probably feel a little apprehensive. And if we are sort of coming down to the level of sort of the everyday person, it's an invitation. It's an invitation.
It can be very inclusive. Very, very good initiative, both of you.
Yeah, I also agree, and I think, as Claudia said, you're really like speaking directly to my heart. As you know, this is my first live streaming, and I never ever spoke to people outside, and it's like me and my keyboard, nothing else. I definitely think that there are a lot of people outside, especially in Tesla community, who are very smart, who have very much data on information, and also passion to share with us. And it's great of you that you guys started this. So if I can do anything else to support this, I'm here.
Well, that's awesome, and it's also an opportunity for there to be repeat or continued conversations down the line. It may become a challenge at some point if we've got numerous conversations on the go, but it's with you guys here right now that this conversation has begun, and it's great. It's great having you guys with us, and it's great being involved.
Don, we can put on our visit card founding members, you and me.
Let's do it.
Actually, yeah, it will be the biggest channel ever, because everybody will eventually join, and there will be like millions of people.
Exactly.
Right.
I love it.
Thank you very much for all your insights and ideas and sharing. And you can always rejoin. And I mean, we have this great group already on Twitter, and we'll just grow from there. And
maybe we'll be the next third row, or how was it called, or the fourth row.
Fourth row.
But so let's really keep doing this. Maybe with pleasure also next time.
Exactly. I mean, we've touched on quite a few topics here, and it just feels like there's so much more to talk about. So awesome.
I think maybe we could, like, I don't know, like with a small agenda, like next time prepare more. Actually, today I came just without any preparation. Sorry for this, but
It doesn't need any preparation. Actually, I had these prepared questions just in case,
Great.
especially for Alexandra with her work. I wanted to appreciate that and get
Thank
some.
you for
Yeah.
preparing.
Yeah,
Yes, and like to take a leaf out of Dave Lee's book, I like the idea that he's always saying that he's just unfolding his consciousness as his thoughts evolve. He just unfolds them each time he creates a new video, and it certainly feels like there is the potential for various conversations to really just go where they need to go, essentially, and we all have an intuition towards what's important, what needs to become, what needs to be expanded on. So yeah, a bit of planning and a bit of spontaneity.
Yeah.
Good.
One last note. Sorry for being too imaginary. Yeah, I think it's like, it's like writing. If you write something, that you write, what you're writing is a resonation that comes from by talking to yourself. Then you will write this down to paper. I think also talking in a small group where you have the resonation. This is very good. You can exchange ideas and transfer knowledge. And yeah, especially we are like a family, so we should definitely keep doing this.
I'm for it.
and in the end, I'd just like to give credit to Farzad, because he kind of gave me the initial idea, because he's doing this with his Patreon crew, and
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'd
nice
like
one.
to thank him.
And then we've got to have him on here at some point, hey?
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
great.
Yes, and such
No,
a
that's
kind
good.
and loving, caring person.
Yeah, awesome. Nice one. All right, well, nice one, guys. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you
you
very
all.
much.
Everybody have a lovely evening and or afternoon. Yeah, we'll see you on the next round.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Speak soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers
Bye-bye.
for now, guys.